Hello and welcome back to another FPL video where of course the Premier League is back on tomorrow, so this will be my final draft before game week 1. How confident am I this is one of my final draft? Not very. 3 players are nailed on for game week 1 so far for me, but this team I do really like, but there are a few things that I could change before game week 1 actually starts. And the Man City game is key. If we get team news beforehand, and let's say Phil Foden starts, I will put Foden in. He was in my last few drafts, but after that Community Shield game, it's really put me off going for him. And same with Grealish, to be fair, because he came off early for Foden. So Man City are a massive headache, and who knows what they're going to play at the back as well. So whatever Pep Guardiola decides, I'll just have to go around that and then go from there. But for now, I do like this team, and obviously if Phil Foden is on the bench, then I'll probably end up just keeping most of the players that I've got here. So let's go through the team. And so obviously, as you can already see, I've gone for Jordan Pickford in goal, and obviously backups Matt Turner, Forest. So I've changed my goalkeepers. Now, these aren't nailed on. I think Turner might be actually be more nailed on than Pickford, because I do fancy Onana of Man United and Steele of Brighton. So it's a three-way fight between them three, but I think Turner's now he's more nailed on than the West Ham goalie, so I'm feeling like I'm going to go for Turner. And when you look at the first 3 fixtures, or 4 fixtures should I say, I can go with Pickford against Fulham. Then they've got Villa, which is a tough game. So I'd go Forest, who have got Sheffield United. And then I can go back to Pickford against Wolves and Sheffield United. So 4 fixtures, I think the keepers will be sorted if I go that route, which is pretty decent to be fair. It's quite funny though, because Turner's first games against his old club. So I could go for that and he could actually smash it. But I'm more confident with Pickford than I am with Turner for game week 1, if that's what I go with. But I do like those 2 goalkeepers for me for the foreseeable future. Now I've got Rico Henry on my bench. Now he was in my starting lineup before, but he's dropped down to my bench. He had a knock, well he went off the other day, and it's flagged up on FPL. But I could easily change that. I did think about having Colwill in, so he's obviously out. And I've decided to keep Henry in. Now, the reason why is I'm not 100% sure Colwill will start, which is frustrating. And obviously Brentford's fixtures are actually really nice after game week 1. So I do fancy a Brentford defender for the first 5 fixtures. Reece James is on my bench, so I've dropped him down. Just been announced as Chelsea captain as well. Liverpool at home, I don't think they're going to keep a clean sheet. But after that, I think Chelsea have got great fixtures, so he'll be with my team after then. But I don't want him in game week 2 or buy him in game week 2 if he has a stormer in game week 1, and let's say his price goes up 0.1 and I can't afford him, which would be frustrating. And then my final guy, of course, is Mbamba, who I could probably say is probably nailed on as well, to be fair. I'm pretty confident he's going to be in my team. You're hearing good news about him as well, and the fact that Skamaka, he's gone. Antonio, there's talks about what's going on with him. Dan Ings isn't doing it since he joined West Ham. So he could start, and if he does, that would be a great 4.5 million striker to have in your team. So that's my bench. Now this team is only 99 million as well. So I do actually have 1 million in the bank. So with this team I've got now, I could change quite a bit. So I'm quite happy I've got 1 million in the bank, because this team overall I'm pretty happy with, to be fair. So then on to my defence now. I'm going for a 3-5-2 formation. 90% certain that's what it's going to be for game week 1. And first up on here, I've got Saliba of Arsenal. I've had in all of my drafts so far. He's the first player on here that's nailed on for game week 1. And obviously I watched that Man City game, the Community Shield game, and it just cements what I was thinking. He's their best defender. He's nailed on. Arsenal's first 3 fixtures are really nice. I feel like it's guaranteed 6 points in each of the first 3 games. So for sure I'm going to have Saliba in there. I've got Kyle Walker in there. Now this one, I'm not 100% certain of, but I do like Man City's fixtures. Man City overall are amazing. Kyle Walker was meant to be leaving to Bayern Munich. Apparently that's not going to happen now. So if he's going to be nailed on, he's only 5 million. So he's cheaper than John Stones. I think he'd be a good little shout out. But I'm going to wait till I hear the team news before the deadline. Because if he's not playing, because you know what Pep's like, then I'll just leave him out. And then finally, I've got Eshbanina, and I mean, I've been put off going for him just because so many people have gone for him, but you can't ignore Brighton's first 3 fixtures. His attacking returns, well, his XG is really good. He's a quality defender. He played really well at the end of last season. And like I said, those first 3 games, you want at least one Brighton defender in the first 3 games. And Luton at home is a perfect fixture. And I can't ignore it, so I've had to put him in my team. So then on to my midfield now. And this is by far the hardest position to choose right now. There's just so many good options. And again, I've made a lot of changes. So first up, if you saw the last draft, I had 2 Man City players in it, Foden and Grealish. I've already mentioned about the Grealish and Foden issue. Foden didn't start, Grealish goes off early. It's put me off a little, to be fair. So I've gone for 2 United boys this time. I've got Rashford and I've got Fernandes. Both of them obviously they're great United players. They're best assets, let's face it. And probably Luke Shaw, I'd say, as well. But yeah, Wolves at home, their first game. Wolves are all over the place. I've said it all summer. I'm not surprised the manager walked out, so they ain't got a manager really at the minute. I can see United absolutely smashing them at the start of the season. And then afterwards, obviously, they've got Spurs. The new manager is very attacking, so they could easily get them on their counter-attack and get a few goals there. So, yeah, and then the third game's Forest, which is a decent fixture as well for them. So, first 3 games for those 2 boys are pretty decent, to be fair. And obviously they're their biggest assets. And I think United will do well this season. Matoma's in there now. I will like Matoma. It's between Matoma and Mbeumo and maybe Phil Foden. Because obviously I've got that 1 million in the bank, so I could change it to him. At the minute it's Matoma, because those first 3 fixtures for Brighton, I reckon they're a walk in the park for them. So that's why I've gone for Matoma. And then my 2 Arsenal boys and Saka and Odegaard. So I've took out Martinelli this time. Saka's nailed on for game week 1, so that's my second player nailed on for game week 1. He's obviously going to smash it. And then I've gone for Odegaard instead of Martinelli. Martinelli, I mean, he did alright in the Community Shield, as did Odegaard, but let's face it, out of the 2 of them, which one's going to go off? And obviously there's that new rule where it's going to be like 8 added minutes on because of time wasted and all that. Odegaard's more than likely going to be on the pitch in that time. So I'd rather probably go for Odegaard instead of Martinelli. He is 0.5 more, but I just fancy Odegaard instead right now. And that just leaves my strikers in. And of course, one of them was going to be Erling Haaland. We all knew it. It was always going to happen. There's not really anything to say about him. And if I'm being honest, I don't actually think I've said anything about him in all my drafts. There's literally no point. His goals speak for themselves. But there is this one issue I've got, and that's, do I captain him? Now, I know he didn't score against Arsenal in the Community Shield, but he didn't do that last year either. So that's irrelevant, because he smashed it at the start of the season last season. He's away to Burnley, but last year he was away to West Ham and scored. So, again, irrelevant. Burnley, people are saying they could do well this year. Again, irrelevant, because Man City are treble winners for a reason. Don't be surprised if they score 4 or 5 goals. But you never know, they could just score 1 or 2. And if that was to happen, I'd be buzzing if I had Saka or Rashford as captain. But if that doesn't happen, and let's say Haaland gets an hat-trick, my weekend is ruined. So that's the only thing I'm thinking about. I probably will wimp out and just have Haaland as captain. Now my second striker, Calvert-Lewin. Now this is a gamble, but it's 6 million, and I do have, like I said before, 1 million in the bank, so I could easily change this. I could either go up in price and go for like a Nicholas Jackson, or I could go down in price and go for Pedro of Brighton. But for now, I've gone for Calvert-Lewin. I mean, he's not had the best pre-season. He's played, 45 minutes the other day, 45 minutes before that. He scored a penalty, so at least he's still on penalties, I guess. So I'm not optimistic about it, but like I said before about Everton's fixtures, I like the Fulham game, the Wolves game, and the Sheffield United game. So 3 out of the first 4 fixtures are nice, and the way Sean Dyche plays, I think, works in his favour. So there is that as well, but the issue is, does he start against Fulham? And that's the big headache. I've not heard any news yet, or whether he's going to be fit enough to start, which is frustrating. Because I do fancy going for this gamble. He's less than 3% owned. And it's just nice to go for some players that not many people have got, because it makes it more interesting. And Calvert-Lewin says he's done a factory reset, so let's hope that that has happened and he smashes it and get another 16 goals in the league. That will do me nicely. Fulham at home, again, like I said, is a decent fixture. And if he starts, I'll be buzzing. So that is my team then overall. Now, when you look at it, pretty much all of them, bar the Man City players, are at home. So if I do go with this team, I'm expecting big things. Now let me know if you think I'm missing out somebody so obvious. I probably am. I have noticed I've got no Liverpool players, but I'm not confident with their fixtures. The Bournemouth game is probably the only one. We think back to last year when they won 9-0, but apart from that, I think I'm alright with that team. But like I said before, the Man City team news is going to change it for me, I reckon. But let me know what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Good luck on your game week 1, and I'll see you all on the next one.